What's up, y'all? Chicago. What's up, Chicago? We on another edition of All Ball Chicago. I'm your co-host, Robert Bobby Reed, and I got the legend Marcus Liberty on, man. What's up, Marcus, your host? What's up, big baby?
What's going on, Bobby, man? I'm chilling, man. I'm just relaxing, enjoying the day, actually, man, here in Florida. But, man, we got a lot of things to talk about, and this is our bonus segment of All Ball Chicago. We just want to get a video out, start doing videos as well as, doing our podcast, but we're going to do a video cast too, man, get it out there and let people know what we all about, what we're trying to do. So happy, man. Happy to be here today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, man, we've been heating them up, man, with a lot of different topics. But today, man, we wanted to talk about something that I saw on Twitter. I saw Frank Isola, ESPN correspondent, him and his co-host on his podcast talked about how Eddie Johnson, Mark Aguirre, and Isaiah Thomas was jealous of Michael Jordan for what he did. And Eddie Johnson said, we're not jealous. Michael is like one of our favorite guys. He's a GOAT. We all respect that. And then Isaiah chimed in and said he wouldn't have made those comments unless he knew what it was like growing up on the West Side. And I say that because I want to bring that to you because you have both sides of town. Can you elaborate on those comments?
Yeah, man. For one, man, we shouldn't be talking about nobody else's podcast on our podcast. No, I just but for real, man, on the real. But Isaiah, Mark Aguirre, Eddie Johnson, man, these are all legends, man, who's from the West Side of Chicago, who paved the way for a lot of us, man, who was back in the day young, looking up to those guys. So big respect for them, man. I got big respect for them. But at the same time, we know Michael Jordan came to Chicago and he is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. He played for the Chicago Bulls. We claim him as ours. So, of course, if somebody says some things about it and try to compare or try to get some beef going, I mean, I think that's what it's all about. They're trying to get some conversation going about.
They want some clickbait, huh?
They
want somebody to click on their clip.
I mean, if you're talking about the greatest, you're talking about the greatest. Everybody wants to listen and see what's the beef and what's really going on. And we all know the situation, what happened with the Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons back in the day in the playoffs. So that's within itself. Yeah, Isaiah Thomas, and the Bad Boys, they did what they had to do. And I think a lot of people still remember that. And Isaiah Thomas, I think he came out and apologized for, that. He handled the situation.
Talking about when they walked off the court, right?
When they walked off the court. So, but at the same time, man, those three guys, man, Eddie Johnson, Mark Aguirre, Isaiah Thomas, Chicago's always going to be your home, man. So no matter what, I mean, I got it in my heart, man, that whoever's from Chicago, if you're doing good things, man, which all three of those guys are doing great things, man. So let's continue to support those guys and not try to put all this hate, let's quit hating on each other, man. And
right.
Sometimes the media can do that to us, man.
Right. They try to split us up at all costs, right?
Right.
I'm glad you touched on that, man. And I'm glad Isaiah addressed it the way that it was. The truth is that they always try to divide Chicago. And then you talked about how we also do that to ourselves here.
Oh,
with the West Side and South Side. And you kind of fed up with that and you want to talk about that.
No doubt. I see it all the time, man. I hear it all the time, especially on social media. They put a lot of stuff out. We got a lot of West Side guys that I'm cool with and I'm friends with, and I got a lot of South Side people that I'm cool and friends with. I got the taste of both sides, so I can talk about both sides. Coming from the South Side of Chicago and playing high school basketball on the West Side, I got a taste of, playing in that tough environment on the West Side. But that's not to say it's not a tough environment on the South Side.
Right.
They have both. They have both. I just think the West Side has a little bit more of guard play. Coming from the West Side, you got a lot of guards that's solid, and don't care who you are, who step on the court. Once you step up in between those 94 feet, it's time to ball. It's time to hoop.
Right. And Patrick Beverly.
I love Patrick Beverly.
Right.
Will Bynum.
Bynum.
Even though Will Bynum is from the South Side, so I think the West Side doesn't get is just due sometimes because of the South Side, what you have on the South Side, your Derrick Rose, your Tim Hardaways, and all the, the great basketball players that you hear about now. But the West Side ain't slacking on anything.
Well, I mean, they had Doc Rivers, Michael Finley.
But I just say,
right.
But I'm just trying to say, let's quit dividing it and say Chicago Hoopers,
Right. I agree, man. I think we I don't know why we have to do that, man. They even do that with the little kids, man.
Well, they did it, Bob. I don't know who came up with South Side, West Side, and all that, but that's how you divide it. If you saying I grew up on the South Side, that's what you claim it, the South Side. If you from the West Side, you claim it the West Side. So that's how it's been. I mean, as long as I've been living, that's how it always been. That people say they claim what side of town they from.
Always, man. Always.
So I never hear too many people say. I mean, they do it to outsiders, right? They say I'm from Chicago,
right?
And then the outsiders, because they know what's going on, they'll say, "What part?"
The first thing they're gonna say,
South Side.
And then if they say, well, I'm from the outside of Chicago and Peoria, and then people, oh, no, you ain't from Chicago. Right. I'm like, man, it's all the same. Bleav, all them boys, man, from the Midwest, man. I don't know.
Right. So
that's all.
That's what you're gonna get, though. It's gonna get divided. Some kind of way, somebody gonna put a twist on it and make it a West Side against South Side or South Side against West Side, vice versa. So I just want to, say, man, I'm from Chicago and I represent Chicago. So wherever I go, whatever city, whatever state I go to, I'm claiming Chicago. Now it's up to you guys to say, well, he's from the South Side and we claim him as our own on the South Side. But then I got the West Side because I played on the West Side. The West Side can easily say, man, Marcus started on the West Side. So now what?
No, they all going to say that first, though. He was at Crane first. He was ours first. Then he went to King. And it's all good, though. That's that red, west, south. It's all red, man. But we want to dive into – did I cut you off?
No, I was just saying that I learned from both sides. So I've got basketball toughness from both sides. So
man, you got all these guys, man, from all over, man. I mean, what the heck? I mean, what the West Side is strong, though. Isaiah, Mark Aguirre, Doc Rivers. I mean, it's strong.
Sonny Parker,
Hershey
Hawkins. You keep going on.
It's tough, man. And then you got Terry Cummings on the South Side, and Tim Hardaway, and Dwayne Wade. He's out in Robbins, but that's still the hood now.
No, Dwayne Wade actually grew up in the city, though. A lot of people don't know that he actually grew up in the city. I mean, so it's
all good, though, man. We all in the same basket, but we wanted to talk about where did it all start in your mentality, from your standpoint? Where did it all start, this whole basketball mystique with Chicago? Why is it so strong, so great?
It had to, man, in the playgrounds. I mean, I wouldn't cut it no other way. It started in the playgrounds. And you got the projects, Chicago Housing Authority, you have the West Side, you have the suburbs. I mean, you can go play in the park in any side of the town. It's like any side of town in Chicago, you can go play in the playgrounds. And I'm talking about
24 hours too.
You have to bring it. And I can remember, man, where me and my guys, we would play from sun up to sundown. And we wasn't counting no games, but I could say, man, it had to be 20 to 25 games that we would play a day. On concrete, with no net sometimes. Sometimes, you just feel good when you have those nets and bring out the best of you. You see two nets up on both ends.
But one rim might have a net, and then you have to switch sides at halftime, half of the score.
Because you want to be
the other team wants the net too.
You got to have the net too, man. You can't let the other team keep the net to themselves.
Because you're going to lose chances out when somebody got that net, man. That net, it just – you can aim.
Well, it's hard to fast break too. So I was smart enough to understand that. Like, man, if you swish a ball with the net, you can grab it and go. But if it goes through that rim with no net up there, that ball's gonna be all the way in the street somewhere.
So don't be up under the basket.
You get hit in the head, man. But the mentality that you have to have, man, when you play playgrounds you have to be strong-minded. You have to be tough. And that's one thing I think when college coaches come to Chicago, they know they're going to get someone that's tough. Because I truly Bleav when we were taught, whoever was our mentors, they always stress, this is your way out. This is your way out of the hood. So our mentality, it was always, man, is this or nothing?
Or nothing, man. Nothing.
So I had that mentality because I grew up on the South Side in the projects, that once I got that ball put in my hand, that don't let this go, man. Love it, cherish it, and make it do something for you.
Right.
And that was my mentality, dude.
Right. That's something else, man. I've never asked you this question, man. I wanted to catch you on the spot and ask you this question. When you became the number one player in the nation, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
Man, Bob, I tell people this all the time, man. I just truly love the game, and whatever came along with that, so be it. It didn't change me. It didn't make me think I was better than anybody else. I still hanged around the same crew, still enjoy my peers, whoever it may be. If somebody that I had some competition against, it wasn't like I thought I was better than you guys. But all in all, you feel it in your heart like, man, I did something. I accomplished something on a bigger stage, not just locally, but nationally. So that's how I always took it in, man, like that.
Yeah, that was something else, man, because
and we had a lot of great guys, man, that came out of Chicago. I mean, you think about it, Mark Aguirre was ranked when he came out. I think Mark Aguirre was ranked. I know people were talking about
Mark said he was the number one player in the nation.
That's what I said.
And Mark said he always tell the story how he went down to UCLA or one of those schools, and he was like banging they whole starting five. He like, why should I come here?
Right.
We go get Terry Cummings and Teddy Grubbs and all them, man.
And start something back home.
And start something back home, man.
Yeah, I already know, man. I already know the story, dude. That's why I said I hear all them stories too, man, about how Mark Aguirre, did his thing, man, on the court. And Mark Aguirre actually, like I said, I used to look up to a lot of those guys, man, when I was playing. Oh, actually, before I started playing, I used to watch the Pro-Am that was at Malcolm X. And I think Mark Aguirre can vouch for this, that Isaiah, Mark Aguirre, Sonny Parker. I remember even meeting Otis Gilmore at the time. Reggie Theus played in it. So it was a lot of guys that was hooping, man. And my father wanted me to get a taste of it. So, when you're a shorty and your dad said, just get in the car, we going. We about to roll. So I'm not knowing where we going. And I see the parking lot just full. And I'm like, we at Malcolm X Community College.
Juking up in there too, right?
Man, I get out the car. We get in the gym, and I'm like, man, they hooping up in here. They was hooping. They were talking trash, and man, they was having a ball. So I'm looking and I'm saying to myself, man, can I play out there one day? That's how I'm thinking to myself.
Right.
Can I hoop out there one day? And man, my dad was like, didn't say nothing. He was just like, I'm just giving you the taste of, if you truly want to play this game one day, you looking at the guys
it's gonna be.
Yeah, you're looking at the guys who paved the way right now. So
right. And it was like a basketball sanctuary to walk in those Pro-Ams in the summertime because we was able to walk up to those guys, man. We don't have that luxury. These kids don't have it now because of the fabric, the social fabric that we live in with all the violence. But they missed that, man. They missed out on that, man.
It's sad though, man. It should not be like that, man. It should, with all the hoopers, all the good hoopers that came out of Chicago and they're still in the NBA right now, we should be able to have a nice Pro-Am where young up-and-coming athletes can come and watch, touch, and talk and get to know and see what it's all about, playing professionally, what it's going to take for me to get to be in this Pro-Am one day. Right. That's how I used to look at it. I was like, man, I want to play because I remember watching, when I got older, like in high school, like freshman, sophomore, and I started seeing Mike playing at Chicago State, and I'm like, wow, man.
You could walk right up to him.
Isaiah Thomas and Tracy Dildy and all these guys
Alfrederick Hughes.
all these guys I watched
Yeah.
and looked up and said, man, now they all in one gym hooping.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about standing room only. It was
Standing
people,
room only,
you know how we do
bro.
it. You know how we do it in Chicago, man. We not staying outside. They bum rushing the gym, man, and
We getting up
security's
in
like,
there
man,
as soon as they open that door, man.
it's too hot, and it
It
got
was
real hot.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so it's like, man, that's what I mean. Chicago. I mean, I know other states got their thing on the basketball side, but man, Chicago people love hoops. They love to hoop, man. They love to watch the games. They love to talk about it, like we doing right now. We talking about hooping, man. Like it's just a beautiful thing,
It's a
man. I
beautiful
mean,
thing. It's a frat,
and
on every level.
and we got some guys that didn't make it for whatever reason. I have a brother, Edgar, who I thought was way better than I was, but he just didn't take it to that level because of the outside influence of other things that, you get from your neighborhood,
Right.
But
Right.
I was blessed enough to have a brother like that protected me and shielded me away from that stuff. So
Yeah,
it worked out.
Everybody can't make it, man. I was debating with some guys yesterday about that, and in my opinion, this was just my opinion. I thought that Tim Bengston was better than Tim Hardaway. I saw them duel in high school. I saw them play against each other several games, and Tim Bengston just owned the game, man. And I just felt like only thing that hurt him, he didn't have a jumper.
Well, that's something you could talk about because I've watched a little bit of them, but I don't know really what they were doing as far as on that high school level. As far as Tim Hardaway and Tim Bengston, I watched them a little bit, but Deion Butler always been my guy, so I grew up me and him in that same era. So Tim Bengston was a little older than me. I mean, I knew he had good handles, but Tim Hardaway had good handles too. I know Tim Bengston was what 6'5", 6'6",
like 6'4", 6'5".
Handling the rock. So
I mean, super nasty with it too,
and
man.
strong. I mean, he was strong.
Man. I mean, the thing when people talk the debate, because I was right there, and when people talk about the best players back when I was in high school above me, I had to give it to Tim Bengston. That's just my opinion. And
well, big. Hey, that's your opinion, brother.
That's my opinion, man.
There's people gonna say that like if we start talking about Marcus Liberty and Ben Wilson, it's gonna be people that say I like Ben Wilson better than Marcus Liberty, and then you're gonna have some people that say Marcus Liberty was my guy. So I don't really get involved in all that, man, because I know what I was about.
Right.
And for me to say something about Ben Wilson, he's not here. So I leave that story alone, man. Like I don't even try to touch that because I know it's a lot of sensitive people out there, and because he's no longer here, I don't talk about that. So people try to get it out of me all the time, man. I don't talk about it, man, because I talk about someone that's no longer here.
Right.
He's no longer here, so he can't
defend himself.
Yeah, he can't defend himself.
And then the way that it all happened, them bucket heads on the internet be bringing that brother up, man. And I know his brothers and all that stuff. I just feel like
good
and
family, man.
Liv never chimes in on that stuff, and I can vouch for that. Whenever they post it, they tag your name in there. Crickets.
As I don't get because I know what they're trying to do, man. That's again trying to divide us. Let's say this. I'll say this, and I'll let that be known. I'll let it be done. All right. Ben Wilson did his thing when he was doing it. I did my thing when I was, in that ranking doing my thing. So he did his thing when it was his time to shine. I did my thing when it was time for me to shine. And I'm going to leave it at that. In Chicago, you need to be proud of both of us, man, because we did what we supposed to do, and that was to represent Chicago, and we represented the right way.
That's real, man. That's real, man. Dang, you gonna just shut him down, big fella, like that? Shut him down. But man, Doc, he gonna shut him down.
Just like that.
That's
man. We don't need to be talking about all that stuff, man.
Yeah,
man, because
it's barbershop talk, man. And
barbershop talk,
and it has no validity at all. Like when people try to compare, Mike and LeBron and all that. It's just not fair, man. It's just not fair
man.
to those guys. You got to let each person have their own little legacy, right? They own not
Yeah.
little legacy, but their own legacy, man.
Yeah, I mean, both of those guys are great. They're great basketball players. I mean, come on, man. Why are we trying to pick and choose? Oh, LeBron James is soft, or LeBron James don't shoot the last shot, or oh man, that was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. They were two different type of players. I mean, come on, man. Michael Jordan just had that I'm gonna bite your neck. Kobe Bryant had I'm gonna bite you. I'm gonna take your head off. LeBron James is like, I'm gonna play the game, man, and get my teammates involved.
Right.
We know Michael and Kobe was gonna take the last shot.
We know that.
LeBron James
might take it or he might dish it.
Yeah, but LeBron James, man, he's like, I'm gonna make that back line help, and I'm gonna kick the ball to the corner. You better make it.
Right.
And
what
right?
happens, that gives your team more confidence down the stretch.
Yeah, but is that right or wrong? I mean, who's us to say that that's right or wrong? I mean, that's the play that LeBron visualized in his head that he needed to make.
It's a basketball play.
If that was me, I'm shooting it. You know, because that's just me. That's just who I was when I was at King. When I was, doing my thing, man. I was like, man, I want the ball in my hand. I want that. But that's not to say LeBron James can't hoop. He ain't trying to win. I mean, he did. He's playing the game how he was taught when he was young, and you can see that he never changed.
He has never changed. He's been playing like that since high school.
Exactly, and probably even younger than that. So So that's not going to who's the better player, who's the GOAT of all time, and this and that. I mean, we all know we love Michael Jordan. We all saw him play, and we all say he's the greatest of all time.
Yep. But if you ask most old school cats, they say Lou Alcindor. So I mean,
I even had my dad say things, man. Like, and rest his soul, he's no longer here, but he's like Elgin Baylor was our Michael Jordan.
Exactly.
He grew up in that era, so it's different. And Michael Jordan say the same thing, like, man, I stole some things from Dr. J.
But David Thompson was his main man.
I mean, David Thompson jumped out the gym and did his thing, but what I'm saying is, all of the great ones, they all say they took something from somebody before them. So think about it. So they still giving you your credit, right? But they telling you now who's the greatest, and who did this and who that. And I guarantee you sit there and really have a conversation with LeBron James, I guarantee you he gonna say, I idolize Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. I mean, you can see the way that he played it. He's a student of the game where he watched Magic. I mean, he's just a heady guy, man. So shout out to LeBron James. But I want to ask you this, man. Who was your nemesis in high school that you had to go at it with? Like, when you knew you were going to play, you had to bring against this dude.
Man, you're going to laugh at this, man. I wasn't afraid of nobody. I'm gonna be real with you, Bob, man. I know we got our show and we doing this. Man, I wasn't afraid of anybody in the city. I felt that if I'm on my game, just watch out. And I had the mindset every time I stepped on the court, I'm gonna give you buckets, right? But at the same time, I'm not gonna talk any trash. So you start talking trash to me, I'm just hearing it, and it's just fueling the fire. Like, all right, I'm just about to take it to a whole nother level now, because it's levels to this.
It's levels.
It's the I'm okay. I'm just gonna give you 20 points, and then it's that I'm gonna give you 30. All right, you keep talking, it's going 40. So it's levels to it, man, and a lot of people that played the game can vouch for me. Like, man, some people you just need to be quiet and don't say nothing and just let them ball out. So when I played high school basketball in Chicago, man, it wasn't never about the people I'm playing against. It was, if I'm ready and my teammates are ready, we can beat just about anybody.
Right.
And that's all I was worried about. And I think a lot of times people get caught up in that, the person that they're going against, And
Got to
that
make it
puts the
1-on-1.
fear.
They
But
want to
that
make
puts
it
the fear. That puts the fear
Oh.
in people. So think about that. If I'm playing against Michael Jordan, and all of a sudden people start saying Marcus Liberty going against Michael Jordan, and how you going to handle Michael Jordan? And I'm like, dude, that's the greatest of all time, right? So I'm about to lace it up with him. I shouldn't have to worry about him. I should worry about what I need to take care of, right? Instead of worrying about him. And there's a lot of people that plays those mind games. I mean, it can get crazy, and you won't understand what is really happening because now you're going at Michael every time you touch the ball, and now it's taking you away from
taking
what
you
really
out your
good at.
game. You out there looking crazy.
Come on, man.
Whereas they running every play for him anyway.
Come on, man.
How you gonna stop somebody they running every play for? It's impossible.
Come on, man. But I will tell you this about a Michael Jordan story, man. He got me with that move, man.
Which one? The pump fake with the hand? The one
Yes,
hand
man.
pump fake?
Yes, man. I turned around for a split second, though. Just a split second, man. But he got me, man. He got me. But he didn't take it to the hole tonight, man. He just, like smirked at me a little bit like Liberty. I could have went to the hole and dunked on the big fella back there because you went for the move.
Right.
So, yeah, man. And I think they had put that out on internet, man, somewhere, man, that man, and he did get me, man, in front of my hometown, man. So I was like, wow.
Dang, man, you went for the ball fake.
Man, you have to, man. He had some big hands, dude. You thinking that he about to pass that ball and you turn around real quick, man. But he done got some people like way worse than what I'm talking about. Like he got him and then went dunked on him like on Tree Rollins. He did.
Oh yeah, that was nasty.
So man, I'm not ashamed to say it, man. Like,
what's the nastiest dunk you ever had?
Man, you know what, man?
Take me through it. When you knocked somebody out the air was you was like,
I really wasn't like one of those big time dunkers, man. Like,
okay,
it's some guys that I got though, man. I remember when I played, and I wish I could find this video, man. I can remember when we played the San Antonio Spurs, and it was I can't think of his name now, man. Antoine Carr. You remember that name?
Yeah, I remember Antoine Carr.
Antoine Carr, man. I remember, man, it was at San Antonio. It was in San Antonio. And I went down the middle, man. He jumped, and I cocked that thing back with my right hand. Booyah! Right? But I like to keep stuff real.
Right.
I really haven't gotten dunked on that much. But I'm going to tell you one guy that got me. And we might share this with him, man, and he can talk about it. But Dennis Hopkins.
Oh, wow.
Dennis Hopson, who played at Ohio State. He was a Sacramento Kings, man. And my instincts just said, I got to get back on defense. So something happened. Somebody turned the ball over, whatever happened. So I'm trying to run back down on the other end. And I'm trying to jump because I'm thinking he about to try to just finger roll it. Man, he turned that thing over, man, and we lied it. Bam! I hit the ground. He hit the ground. And, man, I was so embarrassed, man, because that was my first time ever getting dunked on like that. You know. And I got up. I'm talking about being dunked on in the pros.
In the pros.
I got dunked on before in high school, too, but I'm not going to tell you who that was. But in the pros, man, Dennis Hopson got me nasty, man. Dennis, man, why you do me like that?
And dudes be trying to act like they don't be remembering who be dunking on them.
Shoot, man, you remember that?
They don't want to give up that love, man. But ain't nobody playing ball no more. It's okay.
Nah, man. But I got up off that floor, man. I was ready to go back at him, man.
I know you was.
But that's not what the play was. I couldn't go out of, the plays that we were running, it wasn't all ran from me, so I had to give it to a big fella, the Kimbe Mutombo, so he can go down there and do his hook shots and try baskets that way.
No,
not in my house. Hey, I got plenty of stories, man. I want to tell you another story, man. And it was about I was playing against the Philadelphia 76ers in Manute Bowl. Manute Bowl was playing, right? And this is when I was like, I'm going to get my finger roll over this dude. I know I can. So I'm trying to finger roll over, and he blocked my shot. So I did it again. I said, man, he ain't going to get this one. I flicked it up there. And he just got tired. He just said, you know what? Mr. Liberty. I said, He said, "Don't you have ESPN?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "This is what I do. I block shots." Oh man. So that man. But back then, man, I mean the NBA was so fun, man, and I think it was more competitive back then because you had to earn your stripes to get out there on that court. Now it's like given. It's almost given to athletes, man. I drafted you, the number one player, the number two player, the number four player, whatever it may be, top 20. I have to play you instead of saying you need to earn it. I had to earn my time to get on the court. Even though I went second round, but Chris Jackson or Mahmoud Abdul Rauf got drafted the same year I did, and he wasn't starting coming in. So
he was the first round, right?
It was number three, the number three pick in the draft. So
and wasn't starting.
He wasn't starting. That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Wasn't starting.
Nowadays, it's an automatic given. They bring those rookies in, they start them, man. They treat it.
Man.
It's an AAU culture though, which brings me to this real quick, Bleav.
Okay.
More and more athletes are becoming cookie cutters, where it's one thing or the other. And what we find when we play back in back in the days, players were able to do a multitude of different things. Can you speak to that? Why do you think that's affecting the game nowadays with the way that it looks? Because the look looks different. It's called micro ball right now.
The look is definitely, it's definitely changed. It's sexy, real sexy now because of the money. Think about that. These kids now, when I played back in the 90s, right, Michael Jordan was making $2-3 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have guys that's making $100 million for 4 or 5 years, and it makes you think I'm better than certain players or my coach. So why do I need to listen to you? I can actually pay your salary. I'm not saying all guys do that, but some people may have that mentality that I make way more money than you, so I really don't have to work hard. And I'm straight. If you cut me or get rid of me, look, you got to pay me $100 million. So
they got to pay that too, right?
So I think the love of the game, so to speak, has gotten away because of what I've just talked about early on in our segment about loving the game. When we played on the playgrounds, we weren't getting paid, but we was driving, going all the way, or catching the L train, going all over the city to hoop. That's because we love the game. Now, this generation, I don't know if they have that capabilities to do those things that we did because of what's going on in certain cities and violence and people and parents saying, I don't want my baby out there in them streets getting hurt or something happens to them because of what's going on in the city. So, yes, it's totally different than what it was back in the day. And yes, I think a lot of our kids are not strong-minded as far as saying, you know what, this game has been good to me. Let me continue so I can bless the next generation of athletes that's coming beneath me to show them what it takes to be successful in the NBA and not act a fool off the court doing something, because a lot of times people say athletes should be role models. And I think athletes should be role models. And I know a lot of people say, well, you have parents to be role models, but a lot of us come from single parent homes.
Mm-hmm. And it takes a village though too, man. It takes a village, man.
But a lot of people will say, well, that's not my job to raise your kid. But if he's an athlete trying to go in your path and follow, what you're doing and playing basketball, why not take that kid up under your wing and show him the ropes?
I think that leads me to this next thing, with like Charles Barkley said it back in the days. It may have sounded attractive back then, but now that don't sound very attractive. I am not a role model. That won't fly well right now, brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's important that we all take our leadership role.
But that's how he was feeling, though. He even spoke about that. He's like, that's how I was feeling. Like, really, I'm not your kid's role model. Your parents should be role models, which is true in a lot of ways. But then again, let's flip it a little bit. my parents, if I say my parents are what was my role models, my mom and dad didn't go to college. They
Mm-hmm.
worked their butts off. So I did pick that part up, the work
Right.
ethic. But there's other things that my parents couldn't give to me. I had to go outside of my parents to get that knowledge, whether that was from my uncles or a friend or a family friend member who had a successful business and he's showing me the ropes of telling me things what to do, or I had somebody that played in the NBA and I go back and talk to him about what it takes for me to get to that level. It's things that you could do as an athlete. I'm not saying don't party and don't do what you do to make you feel happy, but give back and talk to a youngster, man, and help them understand what life is all about. Not just basketball, but what life is all about.
Yeah, that's real, man. That's real. Well, this is a good one, man. I don't know what we looking like on time, big dog.
Man, it don't even matter, man. I'm just talking right now, dude, because I love talking about basketball and getting people to understand we are humans at the same time, because a lot of times people look at you and say, oh, and they put you on this pedestal, and then you think you are untouchable. Like what you talked about earlier, how some athletes you can't touch,
Mm-hmm.
because of the platform that they put themselves on, or the media puts them on, right?
Right,
And
right.
I always said, no matter what, if I had it all and I made all the money in the world, I'm still gonna be the same me. Now, I'm not going to do some of the things like hanging out in different neighborhoods so I can get something, done to me, or
Yeah,
somebody.
compromise your well being. You
Oh,
ain't trying to do that. You ain't
you
trying to do
have
that.
to, you
Right.
have to, you have to. But it's ways that you can give back without going through certain things. Because there's some guys out there said, this is where I'm from. And there's some people that envy, man. It's a lot of people that envy others that made it, and
Right.
they not happy, because you made it, man. And you have something that we want. So you
Yeah,
just got to be
yeah.
careful. You got to pick and choose, man, like what you really want to do, and stick to it. So the things that you want to do, stick to it and make it happen. And the things that you're on the fence with, let it go. If I'm on the fence with something, an idea that I have, and I don't think I can bring it out to fruition, I don't mess with it. I'm like, I can't mess with it because I don't know enough about that to make it happen. But the things that I know I can make happen, I'm going to do it.
I got a question, man, and I'll let this be the last one, and you can choose to answer this or not. And a lot of us on the outside, we don't know this, but it's rumored you know, to us that when guys from the hood make it to the NBA, they got special classes that they teach you to stay away from the hood, stay away from the neighborhood, watch who you're hanging around. You can't go back. Certain guys, you can't go back to certain communities. Can you
Yeah,
expound on that?
that's facts. They do educate you on that because, and the reason why, you're playing for the National Basketball Association. That is a brand within itself, right? So if you're playing for that brand and you going out doing stuff that you know you're not supposed to, they know who you're hanging around. They already know when they draft you, they get the background check and understanding what neighborhoods you came from, and they'll sit down and tell you the do's and the don'ts. Like, this could happen if you do this, or you may not be in the NBA if this happens. If you hang around somebody that is your boy, but he a drug dealer, you know they'll pull your coattail on it, and then that's up to you after that. If you want to make that decision and say, this is my boy, I always say, if you're my boy and you doing something not right, you should automatically know that I can't do that because of
Right.
circumstances or the places that I'm in. Like, I'm in the NBA, you can't be doing that. You can't be gang banging. You can't be, doing that. You can't be bringing that to the National Basketball
So
Association.
that's
So
what it really all comes down to. They just don't want to be guilty, have that blood on their hands, so to speak, kind of like. Because you're dealing with 18, 19-year-old kids
yeah,
who just left their friends in high school, so there's not a whole lot of living that they've done. So who are they going to know?
and I think, man, I think the NBA needs to get former NBA players who's all about mentoring and helping young kids become better, better understanding of what and how to spend, and who really is your friend, and And are they hanging on you because of you have something and you said, I got you when I make it? Or are you doing things to make yourself or put yourself to do generation wealth for your family?
Mm-hmm.
Are you putting yourself in situations to help your family become something when they are, or when you gone, your daughters or your sons and all that? So educating them on how to do that. And we all know, man, the mental health is like crazy right now. It's been going on for years, and you can you can vouch for this. And I know I was one of those guys too. Like, I'll have a guy in my neighborhood, and I remember me and my friends, we used to laugh at him,
Mm-hmm.
because of the guy walking up and down the street talking to himself.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
I used to be scared of him though. I see him. I go to the other side of the street, bro.
yeah, man, but that's because mentally he has something that was wrong with him.
Yeah,
So
but they were never violent though.
no, they wasn't violent, but people would go beat him up and or do certain things to him. But now that I like gotten older and understand a little bit more about mental health, it's hard, man. Everybody has a small case of some mental issues with them, man. And sometimes you can do certain things that really bring it out to make it come out, and it can hurt you, So if you got good friends, you got somebody that knows someone that has some problems, mental issues, try to get them some help, man. Try to get them some help. But yeah, man, I enjoyed this show, man. I'm glad
man.
I'm glad you said you wanted to jump on. This is All Ball Chicago bonus. This is the bonus we giving you. We giving you the 3-point play. We giving you the 3-point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Illinois lost yesterday, man. What was that? Yesterday?
Yeah, you put some kind of voodoo on my boys, man.
Dang, no, man. I was with them, man.
But Io did his thing. I watched a little bit of it. I didn't watch a lot of it, man. And I know we got the end, but I know someone told me that they were up. Illinois was pretty much up the whole game almost until like the last 8 minutes of the game.
Illinois really could have really won that game. I was looking at the stats. Ohio State shot 28 free throws and Illinois shot 12.
There you go. That's the game right there.
That's the game right there.
That's the game.
They only lost by like 7. So when I look at games like that, I think the NCAA needs to look at that. Because why did this team shoot 28 free throws and this team shoot 12? And Ohio State was at home. Like, the disparity of the whistle, man, it's not fair.
It makes it interesting, man. I mean, you get that all the time, man. You see home cooking, man. I smell it.
Every time. And Illinois got to address that three-point shooting, too, because they went 6 for 22.
They did.
That needs to be addressed as well. So, they got a few screws they got to tighten up. But other than that, yeah, they got that home cooking job yesterday because Io went crazy on them boys.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, we talked about them last week, man. I mean, they're going to be all right, man. So, they just got to get back to the lab, understand some of the mistakes they did, and get ready for the Big Ten tournament. I think they got a couple of more games, but I think they should start preparing using these games to prepare them for the Big Ten tournament and try to do some damage in that.
Oh, yeah, they'll be ready. Well, man, it was good speaking with you, Bleav, man. Thanks to Bleav Network, man, for this opportunity again. We look for sponsors. You want to sponsor, you want to host, you want to be, promote your product on the show, let us know. I'm your co-host, Robert Bobby Reed. The legend Marcus Liberty over here, man. Marcus, what you finna be on, big dog?
Man, it's time for me to unlace the shoes, dog.
Well, we up out of here. Peace.
Peace, everybody.